How you doing, YouTube? Matt, Massive Beer Reviews, back to get another review. Fucking 75-minute IPA. I have not seen this beer in a very long time, and we're going to review it. How you doing? Yeah, 75-minute IPA is one of the first beers I ever reviewed on my channel. Well, in the grand scheme of things, let's put it that way. I think it was like 68. Yeah, back then, it was a little bit different. We'll get to that. Let's just jump into the label and we'll go from there. It's a 75-minute IPA. It's 7.5% alcohol by volume. Ale brewed with maple syrup. That is it. That's all they have on here. And I'm not going to, I mean, the date, I don't know where the date code, okay, bottled 9/28/2018. It's almost 2 months exactly to the day. Shouldn't be a problem for this beer. And label-wise, it's all right. I love the old one. The old one that had Johnny Cash basically on it, wearing that same kind of like nose and eyebrow kind of glasses thing. Kind of smack it into a cast. That is a classic quintessential label. I don't know why they went away from it. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, I like the fact that it's actually in these little 12-ounce bottles. Other than the main reason, I do not read anywhere on this bottle that it's cask conditioned. The old one was. Listen, or bottle condition, I should say. Sorry. And yeah, that was kind of a really cool part of that beer. You know what I mean? Bottle conditioning really makes a beer more alive, more vibrant for me. And I went and watched the old review. Go watch it. It's fucking crazy how long ago that was and how different I am now. Especially how confident I am on camera. But yeah, that's... I remember liking it having this kind of softness. It was vibrant in the way it showed off the hops, and it was nice, but it had this kind of softness and rounded edge to it. And that's, you're going to get that with your bottle conditioning. I reviewed that in September of 2014. I believe it was 2014 bottle, so it was really fresh. So to see them kind of toss the bottle conditioning to the wayside, kind of a bummer. Yeah, other than that, it's basically just, you're taking your 60, well, this version, you're taking your 60 and 90 minute and you're adding some maple syrup. That's kind of what you're doing here, so I can get down with that. And like I said, I really like the old one, and the old one had a bonus since it was conditioned and it had maple syrup. It could age into something quite interesting. I don't know what the ageability factor for this beer will be, but we're going to review it, we're going to talk about it, and we're going to go from there. So, what do we have going on here? We got, you know, pretty much what it, you know, looks like. Now, you know what? There is a little bit of bits of pieces of yeastiness in there. I don't see a big yeast cake. Actually, zero yeast cake whatsoever. But there's a little particulate floating around. So I don't think it's bottle conditioned. It doesn't say anything on there. They would go out of their way. Plus, I don't think Dogfish had really bottle conditions anything in the smaller formats. So rich amber hue. Quarter of a pinky finger of kind of amber hued kind of head to it. You know, really clear, saying a little bit of that particulate floating around in there. Done and done. So let's get a nose. It smells like a 75. I mean, you're getting a rich piney hoppiness. You're getting a soft grapefruit zestiness, a little bit of orange, but it's definitely piney leaning. I'm not really getting much maple syrup in there, at least on the nose, but there is this added sweetness to it. Almost like maple syrup sometimes can come off like honey for me, and it gives this kind of rich, dense flabbiness to it. It kind of smells like that in there. Yeah, and she smells nice. She smells like kind of very close to like a 60-minute. Let's put it that way. But there's that added little bit of soft sweetness to it. I'm just going to dive in. Cheers. Yeah, I mean, it's classic. You know, it's a little bit more vibrant, a little bit more IPA leaning than bottle conditioned maple syrup leaning. From what I remember, again, we're talking about 4 years ago. But it comes off very old school IPA-ish. It comes off very kind of two-hearted, a little bit scopany. You got those West Coast vibes running around there, a nice piney richness to it, but there's a nice citrus component too. It's definitely zesty and vibrant, leaning in the grapefruit category. It's nice. There's this nice rich creaminess. That's probably the biggest thing that is there, but also kind of missing. There's this big creaminess to it. This soft, delicious creaminess. I think that's your maple syrup at work, kind of adding that depth and that richness to the beer itself. But here's the thing. It has sharp edges to it. And I think that's where your bottle conditioning comes into play. I think it messes with the carbonation footprint. It messes with how the beer starts off, but so much more how it ends. And while I like this, it tastes like the old one, to me. Didn't really taste like a mixture of 60 and 90. It tasted like its own entity. It tasted like it had this unique personality to it that was of its own fruition, or whatever the fucking word I probably would butcher anyway. This tastes like just like a mixture of 60 and 90 with maple syrup in it. That's what it is. That's what they kind of, I mean, they put him pouring a 90 and there's an empty, half empty bottle of, 60 or vice versa in his pocket. So they're not, they're telling you what they're doing here. But I like that, man. I like the way the bottle conditioning came off. Now, if this is bottle conditioned, it's not. If it is, then it's different. At least I think it's different. It's really hard. This is like this is a weird one for me because it's really hard to go back and try to compare this to a beer I had 4 years ago. Talking about a 750 bottle conditioned beer. It's going to be different regardless. Plus, my palate's going to change. Your brain's going to change. The things you think and things you remember are going to change. It's kind of like, going back and kind of comparing, Walter Payton to, today's kind of running back in the NFL, whatever kind of analogy you want to use. It's hard to do that, but we can do it. And that's the fun part about this. I can do whatever the fuck I want. And I think, while I do enjoy this beer, this is a tasty beer. I had to buy a whole 6-pack of it because I just wanted to review it. I really wanted to review it, just kind of touch on it and just kind of talk about it and kind of, jump and throw it back to one of the older beers that I reviewed. And I picked up a whole 6-pack and I was like, I don't really want to buy a whole 6-pack of this. 4-pack would be bad. 6, but I'm kind of glad I got it. This is going to be nice. Plus, I'm really curious to see how this ages. Not necessarily for the long haul. I just know that 75, I would drink 1 or 2 year old bottles of it. But it's cool to see it come back. I mean, it's been 3 years. Last time it was 2015. It hit the market with it coming back. It's fun. I just wish they would have brought it back in its original iteration. Anyway, let's cut to the chase. Is it one of the better adjunct IPAs I've had as of late? It's not on the outside. It's not deep in the conversation, but it's on the edge. It's on the, it's not in nor out. It's tasty. I like it. I dig it. I like what it's presenting. I think my romantic side of me wants that older version still alive, and it's not there. So it's just irking me a little bit. Value and availability. I want to say it was $13.99 for a 6er. It's Dogfish Head prices. If you see Dogfish Head, you will see this beer and leave you with, if you like, what will you like this beer? If you like 60 and 90, if you like Dogfish Head IPAs, if you like West, will you want a little bit of, what would I say, North? Maple syrup I'm trying to allude to. And that maple syrup does come off. It's definitely there, so it adds a component to it. It's a nice kind of twist. Let's put it this way. If you like lactose IPAs, but you don't like over-the-top lactose IPAs, it's almost like a version of that. The way they kind of use the maple syrup in it is like, if you're talking about 99% of the time you're talking about lactose IPAs, you're talking about your New England Hazy IPA. New England Hazy IPA with lactose, milkshake, more kind of West Coast leaning IPA with maple syrup. It's kind of like their version of the milkshake IPA. Yeah, syruped IPA. I don't know what you want to call it, but regardless, it's a fun beer. I like it. I dig it. I just wish it was in a 750 format that was bottle conditioned. Man, what a soapbox to bang, huh? So there you go. Another review in the books. Down there if you want to talk about it. Massive Beers if you want to know. Yeah, massivebeers@gmail.com. I don't give them my email that much. I don't know why I should. You guys should write me. What do you want to see? What do you want to hear? Let me know. Massive Beer Massive, actually. Beer Massive is my podcast. Go check that out. We've talked to a bunch of different beer people. I think we have a Sam Calgione in there from the old radio days. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully enjoying a nice Dogfish Head. And hopefully see you next time. Cheers.